What is up, everybody? It's Jamie. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at what I think would be considered the two main players in the market when you start considering cases that like to tout and talk about drop protection. And those providers are Casetify as well as OtterBox. When looking at my case progression for my iPhones, traditionally I was always like Apple silicone case person, then I was more into like the leather cases, and then I wanted some new designs and a little bit more protection while also maintaining a slimmer form factor, and then I started looking at the Casetify cases. I never really was someone that was into these cases that offered a lot of like drop protection because they always seemed to be extremely bulky and ugly and just it wasn't something that I was interested in. And I think that recently over time that it's been able to really work on that technology and come up with cases that can maintain a more slim form factor while also creating the drop protection or getting drop protection that's going to be worthwhile. So I've been using Casetify cases, varying different Casetify cases for the past couple of years now, and I find them to be fantastic because I'm able to get the style that I want. There's so many different design options while also at the same time getting drop protection. So to me, it's kind of the best of both worlds. So I thought it would be a good idea to compare some of the Casetify offerings to what you can find from OtterBox. OtterBox is one of those companies that, as I mentioned before, when I first had looked at them a while back, it was all very bulky cases that just looked more business-like, and I thought it'd be a good idea to take a look at what they're like today and try to compare like to like to the Casetify offering. So before we start, let's just talk about what case manufacturers use to promote and market their cases and drop protection. There's two typical data points. One is going to be drop protection height. Another is going to be military standard. Drop protection height, very simple. Military standard is a little bit different, and I think it's nuanced. So technically, military standard is drop protection of an item on like different size 26 times, and it's typically out of a distance of 4 feet. Now, the one thing about that is I think that companies can kind of vary outside of that and might still use that military standard, but it's one way to kind of take cases across each other and use this as a standardized value. When we look at the Casetify cases to begin with, so I have a impact case, ultra impact, and the bounce case. So moving from most to least protective, your impact case is going to have drop protection of a little over 8 feet, and it's 4 times military standard. So the way that Casetify does their drop protection, so they have a singular case construction, and they have proprietary material that they place in different areas of the case to give their overall drop protection. So on the impact case, you'll see on the inner aspect of the case, there's a absorption, their proprietary materials all on the inside, and this is where they're getting a drop protection. The nice thing about this is that it allows the case to maintain a very slim form factor while still getting you 4 times military standard and 8 feet of drop protection. When you bump up to the ultra impact case, the only difference that they're doing is they're taking that material and they're putting it on the 4 corners where you're going to get, typically the most impact. The thing I really like about this is that you go from 4 to 5 times military standard. You're now over 11 feet of drop protection, but the additional mass that you're gaining isn't all that much. It's just a little bit of material on the corners. So it still allows you to maintain that overall slim form factor. Another thing that's nice with all the Casetify cases that you look at the cutout around the camera lenses, I think it's big enough to where you're getting good protection, especially with where the thicker lenses on the 14 Pros. You also have a good lip on the front side. When you go up to the bounce case, this is a completely different beast. So they've taken that material and they put it on the whole outer aspect of the case. They've then integrated these bumpers on the side that have openings in almost like an Air Max shoe. And then they also have this kind of cross bar type mechanism on the middle to help with increased protection as well. So with this case, you're getting 6 times military standard and up to over like 21 feet of drop protection. So this is tremendous, while still, I mean, this is still a very, very slim form factor. So the thing that really attracts me to the Casetify cases, it's not just the drop protection, slim form factor, but it's just the overall design, the aesthetic. You can really come up with, when you go on the site and you start look at all the different offerings, the way that they change, whether it be the color on the outside, you can do a clear case, you can do a different colored case, a translucent case, you can do cases with stickers, and there's all different kinds of sticker options, looks, whatever the case may be, so that if you determine, all right, I need some drop protection, but not tremendous, I'm gonna go with the impact case. You go and you start searching, you can spend so much time just trying to find the exact case you're looking for. There's so many different ways to customize it that there is going to be a design, color, what have you, for every single person that's out there. So when looking at pricing of Casetify, the impact case ranged anywhere from $68 to $78, and this is for the iPhone 14 Pro. The Ultra Impact, $78 to $88, and then the bounce case I saw was $92. So I'm not gonna lie, their cases are a little bit more on the pricier side. One thing that can help is that if you use the link below, you can get 15% off your order from Casetify. I will say that when you are looking at the cost you're spending on your iPhone, so now $1,000 plus more dollars. And so spending 70, 80 bucks on something to protect it from any kind of damage, I think it makes sense for the cost. When you think of how much the device costs to protect it for 70 bucks, it seems very, very reasonable. So now we're gonna move over to the OtterBox cases. Now, I am not as well-versed in OtterBox. I think a couple of times I purchased a clear case, I didn't really like it, and I ended up returning it. So what I did was I went to local store and I picked up the OtterBox cases that they had on the shelves. And so I have the Symmetry, I have the Defender Pro, and then the Defender Pro XT. And then when I purchased, the Symmetry was $49.95, the Defender Pro was $64.95, and then Defender Pro XT was $69.95. So definitely much cheaper than what you're seeing from a Casetify perspective, but let's take a look at them and see how we feel. Going from least to most drop protection, OtterBox only listed military standards. They didn't give any heights, just military standard. So the Symmetry was 3 times military standard. The Defender Pro was 4 times military standard. And then the Defender Pro XT is 5 times military standard. So when we're looking at the Symmetry case, I think the Symmetry case was built specifically to go against Casetify from a design perspective. Not that I think that this looks like a good case or anything like this. Is just the black version, this is all they had. But I did see on their site they have a bunch of different design options. A bunch meaning a bunch for OtterBox. There's not just 3 colors anymore. There was maybe 10 or so different designs. They looked like they tried to do some of the sticker type of designs that Casetify is known for. This doesn't really compete with any of the Casetify cases because it is only 3 times military standard. It is also very flimsy and cheap feeling. This feels like someone made this in their garage with like a 3D printer. You look at the cutout around the camera lenses, it's very thin. The way that they did it, like this ridge is just very abrupt. And this is an extremely cheap feeling case. Granted, it's only $49.95, which is still a lot of money for a case. When looking at this and having it in hand, I don't know, it feels like a cheap $10 case you could find off Amazon. Now moving on to the Defender Pro. This was something that was very interesting to me. This case comes with this belt clip. It brings me back to when I used to have a BlackBerry, and on occasion for work, I was one of those nerds that had on a belt and clipped it to my pants for a little bit there. But yeah, so just in case you're wondering, there are phones that still have belt clips. Now, granted, I understand that this is more geared, this belt clips in there, more geared to people from like a work perspective, law enforcement, maybe construction workers or whatnot. But I just thought that to be a little bit funny. Maybe some people would find this to be helpful to have this included in their case, but we're gonna put this off to the side. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the Symmetry case is just a one-piece case design. Now you bump up to the Defender Pro, you get 5 times or 4 times military standard, so you get a little bit more drop protection, but it's also like a 2-piece construction. So essentially, your case is gonna consist of 3 pieces. You take your phone, you put it in here, you take this other plastic piece, put it in here, then you put the whole thing in. I mean, granted, if you're gonna change your case often or whatever, this is going to be an absolute nightmare. The design just seems so antiquated. And so this is what I'm talking about. This is the type of this is why I would steer clear traditionally from cases that talk about drop protection, because I don't want to deal with this. I still don't have it on correctly. I don't want to have to deal with this. Now, granted, I understand maybe this is more functional for certain types of jobs or industries or whatever, but the majority of people, I think people actually use this case from a personal perspective. It just seems insane to me. I think maybe at one point in time, this seemed like a really good idea, but I mean, you compare this is 5 times military standard. No, this is 4 times military standard. Or you can do this. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Granted, there's a cost difference, but this is still $65. Would you pay a little bit more? Take the 50% discount, apply it. Now you're more close. And then from a design perspective, unlike the Symmetry case, this Defender Pro, once you start getting out of the Symmetry line, there's no real options. It's maybe a couple color options and then clear. So the last case that I have from OtterBox is their Defender Pro XT. So this is going to give you 5 times military standard. So the Defender Pro gave 4 times, which is comparable to the Impact case. So the 5 times military standard is comparable to the Ultra Impact case. So the Defender Pro XT is a 2-piece case where you have this shell, the bulk of the case, and then you have a clear plastic piece that goes over the top of it to help lock it in place. Also seems like a very antiquated design. Also seems like an area in which you have the more pieces, more components, more plastic that's in here, more potential areas for damage and breakage. I mean, look at this. It's so difficult to take in and out that I can't imagine if you're changing your case often or even just a few times, you have the risk of potentially breaking this because this is just a flimsy piece of plastic. But when you look at OtterBox, if you're trying to get 5 times military standard, you have this, or you can just go to a Casetify Ultra Impact case, single piece design, not very bulky at all. When looking at things outside of just the case itself, like the brands, I don't know if people care about this all that much. Both brands, they like to tout sustainability, which I think is good. All need to start moving and doing our part to becoming more sustainable. Some of the things that I think are interesting with the Casetify case is just they're really trying to use more and more recyclable parts. So you can see on some of these cases, they use a Recasetify program where they'll take old cases, crush them up, and use them to make new cases. They go as far as even just their packaging. Their packaging is 100% compostable. I know that OtterBox does use recycled materials as well. So when you look at sustainability, both companies are really starting to do their part. In wrapping up, when you're taking a look, if you're trying to look at a case and you want drop protection, when looking at Casetify and OtterBox, I think there is no comparison whatsoever. The only thing that I could say OtterBox has going for it is it's a little bit cheaper. And if you're shopping just on price, you can probably do much better than OtterBox, because OtterBox is not cheap by any means either. So when you look at Casetify and you look at overall offering, from design, not just design of the like design options of the case, but just overall design, the technology and design that's going in to their cases to give you industry-leading drop protection while also maintaining a slim form factor, that singular piece that's not multiple pieces, like 3 pieces in a single case and needs directions in order to put it together. You look at that type of design, technology, and then you start looking at the personalization of it. So being able to personalize your case to where it might be difficult to find another person that has the exact same case as you, depending upon what direction you go in. I think that is those aspects, head and shoulders, I think put the price in perspective. You're going to pay $69, $69.95 for this. Give me this one. This, I can get it for 78 bucks. I'll use my promo code, get 15% off. I can customize it however I want to. Boom. That's all I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment below and let me know what you think. If you have any thoughts on Casetify OtterBox, or if there's another case manufacturer you think I should take a look at. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Also, if you are shopping for a Casetify case, use the link below. Make sure so you can get 15% off your order. I'll catch you in the next video.